Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this session today we are going to see how we can maintain the different environment based URLs and also the credentials based on those particular environment. So in our previous session we have seen different ways to kind of structure the environment based URLs, and then based on your the environment that you are providing from the command line, it will be picking up the specific URLs and then it will be loading that into your particular test case. This is just to make sure that you won't really need to change your framework or the code base every time you want to execute your same number of test cases into multiple different environments. Okay, so now we will extend this one not just to stick with the URLs, but what about, because see, in real time what happens for each and every environment, the credentials also will differ. Like if any username and password that you are using for the QA, that might differ when you are logging in to a dev environment. Because we are doing an extension, I won't be using a TS file just to maintain these things. Rather, let's see another approach where we can use a JSON file. Okay, we know, right, lot of benefits of the JSON, that it is lightweight and easy to read. You can use any kind of language or script to read the data. So why not we can leverage that? So for this I will be ignoring the TS file for now, and let's create a new file and let's call it as let's say appdata.json file. Okay, I'm just creating a JSON file and I have already set up actually the details, so I'm just copy pasting here, and let me close this. And if you see that I have changed a couple of things for easy access. I changed the prod environment to a proper email proper application URL, and then as you can see that, so this is my URL. Okay, so this URL key will have these many details for the values. Actually the same thing for the users, because users are nothing but the username and password. For that, for each environment I am mentioning that. But then how do we really fetch it? We should have some kind of criteria, right? If it is QA, you pick up the QA related URL and also the QA related username and password. So what I came up with an approach that these users will hold individual user, and that will have three different things. One is the actual environment. For this specific environment, what would be the username and what would be the password? For an instance, let's say that in a real time my prod URL is saucedemo.com, and then the correct password for this is environment is prod, and then the username and password is standard user and secret sauce. I can use this username and password to log into my application. The same thing if you are dealing with QA and dev. So this is a simple JSON. You can add your own ways, like you can even add another way, like you can even pull the country. Like let's say that if it is multiple countries, let's say that your application is holding different for India, different for US, so you can add as many as items into this list, and then you can specify this environment and country from your command line. That's how we need to do. So like let's say that I'm keeping this as India. For now we will just compare the environment. Okay, so when the environment is QA, you fetch this particular URL, and from this particular users list we will be looping across these arrays actually. And wherever my environment is matching with the expected, means which is coming from my this one actually, if it is matching to this one, then you fetch the username and password. As simple as that, and you can use it across your framework. Now I won't be writing a straightforward here actually this one. Okay, because we have to create an utility, because I cannot write in this test. If I write in this test, then it won't be accessible into other tests, right? So we need to have a common utility for that. Okay, so for this let's create an utility method actually for that, or a utility class. And for this what I'm going to do, if you see that there is a util folder, we have created it. Now under this I will be creating a new file. Let's name it as appdata.ts. Now appdata.json is actual data, Now the appdata.ts will actually read the content of appdata.json based on the requirement. Fine. So the first thing what we need to do, we need to first import that particular JSON file to read it. Let's say that I'm creating a constant data and I will say that require. Okay, require what? Require that particular file. So I will be specifying here, let's say dot dot, and then you can see that is under my data folder. And then if you do that, appdata.json. So it is as simple as that. Now sometimes you will get an error into the require. So for this there is a quick change that you need to do. So if you go here, you might not have added these three things, probably I think these two things only. So you need to resolve the JSON module and then ES module interop. So these two key value pairs you need to add it so that it will directly read your JSON file. You just need to specify the JSON path. And I will be creating a class here. Let's say that I will do like this, export default class, and I will be giving the same name, no problem. We know already how to declare a class, right? Now in this, the first and foremost thing is that I need to get the environment. From where I need to get? I need to get from the command line. How do I get it? We have already learned that in our previous session, right? So this is the way. So I'll just copy paste this one. Let me close this one. Let me close this. And here I will be creating one method. Let's say that a simple method which will give me the get environment. No parameters, nothing. And I will say return as simple as that. That's it. There is no other problems. Now this get environment I will be using to loop across the JSON file. Okay, now let me open that JSON file as well here. So I'm keeping it here. Let's do like this, split. Okay, now here let me keep writing these different things by reading this particular JSON file. Okay, now the next thing is that I need to get the specific URL. From where? From the URL's key, right? So I'll say get URL. Now see, till now I didn't read my JSON file yet. Now here is something I need to read that. So the first thing is that how do I access all the URLs? That is my first thing that I need to do. So simple thing what you need to do, you need to use this data variable which you created or the constant, and you put a dot and you say data URLs. That's it. Now this will give you the array of QA, dev and prod. All these key value pairs you will be getting here. Okay, now what I need to do, I don't want to get all of these URLs, right? Because this should return the specific URL only. Now how do I get actually specific URLs is an array. Now from that array or the collection, I need to get a specific key actually. As simple as that, I will say QA. Now when I do a QA, it's actually like this. So when I do a QA, it will give me the specific value. If I say it as prod, then it will give me the prod specific URL. Now I need to make it as dynamic, right? Dynamic in the sense, what I need to specify. As simple as that, this get environment. So this dot get environment, as simple as that. And this is a method and I need to do a return. And here, let me try to do one thing. I'll put the console.log just to make sure that the above method get environment is really working fine or not. Okay, now get URL is done. Now the second thing is that, what is that? Get username and password, right? So that is nothing but get credentials. Let's say I want to get the credentials. So I'll do like this. And I will put like this. Now in this, at this moment, you can do like this also. You can get username, get password. In two things you can do as well. For now, I'm just keeping it as get credentials. Now, how do I get the credential? So the first thing is that I need to first create two variables. Let's say let username and password. Let's say two different variables I'm creating. And after that, I have to fetch that particular, this array, right? This collection array. Now, how do I do? users. Like how I fetch the URLs, I will be fetching the users. Now I don't have any specific way, right, to put it inside an index with a key and then it will give me all the details. So what I need to do here, so I'll just put like this, get users. Now when I say get users, it will give me these three sets actually into the output. Now I need to loop across this one so that each section I will get, then I will be comparing against my get environment with this environment. Let me show you how to do that. So a simple for each I will be specifying here. Okay, and here I'm just keeping it as user. Now this user I need to play. Now what is this user? For each loop, this user is nothing but this set actually, as simple as that. It means that if I make user dot environment, this is nothing but QA or dev or prod. So in each loop it will be coming. So it's very easy, right? Now for me, I'll put a if loop here or if condition, and I will say that if user dot environment, because I don't want all the loops, right? I want the specific. Which one is that? Includes what? This dot get environment. If it is matching, then you fetch all the details actually from there, the username and password. Let's say that username equal to, what is that? User is nothing but each loop, right, dot username, as simple as that. The same thing I will say password equal to user dot password. Okay, so after this, once we assign this, either you can return this user itself. User in this sense, it will take that specific loop matching, either this one or this particular section. Or what you can do at the end, you can return this particular the username and password as an array. So let me show you that. So what you can do, you can return this array itself here. So you can just say username, the two variables which we created, right? So these two things you can literally return it from here. Now let's go back to this particular test here. And here what I'm going to do, first I need to call that particular TS file. So I'll say that import, okay, I will say data from, and I will put like this, let's say data, and then here, sorry, not data, util actually. So util slash app data. Okay, like this you can import it. Now what you can do, data is a class, right? So I need to create an object of that, and then dot get credentials is a method. Now this one, let's put it into a console.log and let's see if it is giving the proper output or not. Okay, now let me close this one, there is no need of this, and let's open this, and I will say that let's say env equal to, let's say prod, and I will say npm run wdio. Okay, enter. Okay, it seems like there is some issue. Let's see what is that. So it says that request failed with the status 500 due to the session not created. This version of the Chrome driver supports 1 not 2, and but my okay, it seems like my current browser got changed to 104, so that's why it is creating an issue. No worries. So the thing is that let me quickly see this. So WebDriver IO. So here let's see what is the latest version of the Chrome driver, npm package. Now it is 7.3.2. Now I'm also having the same thing, so probably they have not updated it. No worries, there is another way where I can directly download this particular Chrome driver actually specific to this. So I'll say I and then -d, and I will say Chrome driver, and I will say that there is another option as well. I can directly specify like this specific version, that is 104, and let's see if this really works. Okay, it seems like it downloaded. Now let's try to run this and see if it works. Okay, so as you can see now, it worked fine, but there is some error it is coming. Okay, so it's telling that undefined error. Why is that? Let's see. Okay, so let's keep like this. Let's try to run. Yeah, so as you can see here, it is printing, but there is a problem actually. Here it is happening. Let me tell you that. So the thing is that, so as you can see, the username and password got based on the prod. That is for sure, because I have run the prod environment and then the test case, which is saying get credentials, and you can see that it is returning me the username and password. Now from this array, whenever you are trying to log into this URL, you can fetch the respective username and password and then you can enter it. That's a more into the WebDriver IO context. But if you see that when it was running, it was coming the facebook.com. The problem is that if you see here, we have set up everything here is what you call, if you see, these things are already pre-set up here. So if you go to here, this base URL, this is from our previous session it is coming. So I really need to change this one. So what I'm going to do here, when you are really approaching in this way, right, okay, like you are creating your own JSON file and data and all those things, either you can read this JSON file into this particular here actually. See, I was getting these URLs from the urls.ts file. So now I'm going to disconnect this one actually here. What I'm going to do here, I'll put constant and I will say data equal to, I'll say require, okay, data is under test actually. So test data, and then under this app.data.json file. Now here what I'm going to do, now actually if you see that I don't really need any kind of base URL and all those things. So I'll directly keep this thing as commented out here. Now all these things, whatever it is there, right, I even can comment here. So there is no required here. Okay, now after doing that commenting out, what I can do, I can put the base URL equal to new data dot, I will say get URL. That's it. Now this get URL anyway will take care of getting those, if I go to this implementation, okay, so it's not going directly, no worries. So if you go to this, now here if you see, this is already taking care of all the details which we have mentioned in this if else block, right? So I'm keeping as it is everything. So you can see data, I'm taking the constant data from the JSON file. Oh, this is not from the JSON actually. So this is from the test util actually. So test, and then I will go to the util, and then here it is app data. So now let's try to run this and let's see if it really works. It should launch the source demo application. Okay, so there is some problem here again. Let's see what is that. It's telling that wdio.count.ts data is not a constructor. Okay, so it seems like here I need to import data from this particular file. Let's see in this way. Okay, now here you should get that URL actually. Now let me run the test case and see, it should run the source demo. And you can see it really went so fast. If you want to really see it, I'll put a wait browser.pause so that we can see for 3 seconds, let's say. Now let's run this. And you can see source demo application came, and also it should capture the proper username and password. That is how. So there are two things that we have set it up. Once we created the JSON file with proper URLs and then specific your username and password for the region specific. Then we created one utility method which grabs the environment, which grabs the specific URL, and also it grabs the specific credentials based on your the specific environment that we are choosing. So there is no point of mentioning our own implementation here, so which reduces a lot of code in your conf.ts, and then you are segregating that in modular wise. So hope this session is useful. If you are getting any questions or any doubts, please do comment below. We will discuss further. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. Do subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.